It's an honor to be here at my father's funeral. I was asked to give the eulogy here today. I remember the first time my father told me he loved me. I had just won a high school football game, a championship actually. Been try It had been a long time, and I'd finally won a championship. And my father, after the game, he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "Son, now that you've won a football championship, I can finally tell you that I love you." And so I swore I'd remember that moment and the lesson I learned that day. Sadly, I never told my father that I loved him, because that weak ass bitch never won a fucking football game. Welcome to the show. Hello and welcome to Ruben Uncut. I'm Ruben, and today I have come here to express what I'm sure will be an unpopular opinion. Simply because I live in America. You've read the title, you already know what this is. But before I get into that, I want to share something with you. And this is going to be the first time I'm ever going to be sharing video. Well, if you're on Spotify. If you're not on Spotify, then you're not you're not seeing this video. So I'm going to describe it too as it goes along. Okay, here we go. See a bunch of immigrants in front of the Statue of Liberty on Ellis Island. We see some families that's struggling during the Dust Bowl. Suffragettes with a sign that say, "I wish Ma could vote." The storming of Normandy, D-Day, whatever.
At times, it is a struggle. We witness it.
Some famous picture of a child saluting. Berlin Wall getting hit by a pickaxe. And what appears to be the Apollo mission? Some spaceship launching.
We feel it.
Bunch of hippies, one holding a sign with a picture of John Lennon that just says "Y" and some peace signs.
We live it.
A sign that says Humanity Street. During a flood, it's flooded. The water is right up to the sign.
But through it all,
We just saw what I believe was Roosevelt making a speech. Now there's Mount Everest.
generation after generation, we
Some famous people I should know but don't. Muhammad Ali and then Ronald Reagan.
never give up.
Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. And then a picture of people waving a flag in what appears to be Times Square.
How could we?
Michael Douglas.
Can you
Raising the flag at Iwo Jima. Possibly Amelia Earhart.
imagine what life would
Ray Charles.
be like
Planting the flag on the moon.
if they didn't
People waiting in lines, in bread lines.
persevere during an era that was
I'm sorry, apparently there's soup lines.
far from great?
Man walking down the street in a protest holding a sign that says "Unemployed will take any job."
If he never
He is John F. Kennedy.
asked what we can do.
For your country.
The next person is going to be Martin Luther King Jr.
If he didn't dream. If they did
I guess you could have figured those out by the context clues.
not show the world on
Cops,
our darkest day
firemen,
that our flag was still there. Tonight,
Bono with a flag, no reason.
here we are, united to see their journey.
Packers and Steelers.
Two storied franchises. One, founded by a shipping
I'm not
clerk
going to
at
describe these pictures. He's
the
just going to
Indian
go.
Packing Company. The other named after the proud steel mills that forged this great nation. Green Bay and Pittsburgh, where the game of football is in their blood. This is so much bigger than just a football game. These two teams have given us the chance for one night, not only to dream, but to believe. This is a celebration of their journey, of our journey.
Okay, so, yeah, that was the most ridiculous, one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen on television. That's the opening video before Super Bowl, I think 50 in 2011. And what is my problem with this video? I'll tell you my problem with this fucking video is I'm going to play one of these parts back again here because I want to make sure you understand what he's saying.
If they did not show the world on our darkest day that our flag was still there.
Okay. He is literally comparing what football players do to the firemen and police officers that ran into the buildings on 9/11. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? The only person in this entire montage who I think is on a comparable level of okay to compare to fucking football players is Bono. Okay? I don't know why he's in the fucking montage. He's just there yelling. He's got his jacket open, and you see the American flag on the inside of his jacket. Which, by the way, if you're offended that people burn the flag, then you should also be offended that people fucking wear it against their sweaty ass, dirty bodies. Jesus. But this video is fucking ridiculous. They compared Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy to fucking football players. Okay, so let me just start out by saying, no offense meant to football players as human beings. I'm not against you. What I'm fucking saying is that if you think playing an imaginary ball game, a fake war simulation, a ridiculously violent version of capture the flag with an egg-shaped ball, you're fucking delusional, okay? That's insane. Do you think that football's contributions are equal to the civil rights movement? To the storming of the beaches in D-Day? You think... What? What? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Look, I get it. This is America. People here fucking love football, and that's fine. You can love football, but I need you to put it into certain fucking perspective. Football is fucking meaningless. It's just a meaningless, mindless form of entertainment. And that's okay. You're allowed to love it. You're allowed to even get emotionally invested in the quote unquote journey. But in all seriousness, the amount of meaning in a football game that is non-economical is actually probably inferior to going and watching your children play sports in terms of absolute fucking meaning. Because at least with at least going and watching your children play sports, a thing that's pretty cool for kids, you're at least watching and witnessing your children's journey as they learn important lessons about teamwork and how winning and losing is stupid. Oh my God. See, ultimately, that's the thing. America loves sports. And unfortunately, I do think that it's like, okay, I get it. It's a shared cultural experience. I get that. But here's the reality. Sports are basically interchangeable, okay? They basically break down into a few small categories that you can essentially put like this, okay? There's racing, someone getting from one point to another point before another person. You got fucking, you got, but possibly the largest sports area is just elaborate versions of Pong. All just an endless barrage of take the thing and take it to your side or your opponent's side more times than they either take it to your side or their own side. It's frequently just reverse capture the flag with a stupid fucking ball. It's nothing. It's just, we don't even use sports for anything anymore, people. Do you understand that? Sports at certain points in history were used to resolve actual conflicts because people thought it was better than, murdering each other. Now, to be fair, in these time periods, many of those sports were also death sports, like the Aztecs played. But, also, side note, in an Aztec sporting event, there are no real winners because the punishment for losing is being sacrificed to the gods, and the reward for winning is being sacrificed to the gods. The Aztecs, man. They believed that God hated us, and therefore believed killing us, the killing of other human beings, would make God hate us slightly less. Sometimes religion's wacky. Okay, but I'm not saying that sports have never contributed to society or history either. I'm not trying to paint that for you. I just think that Americans, well, to be fair, it's not just Americans. After all, people have done some fucking ridiculous shit for soccer, including deciding countries' political fates and, just mass fucking violence. Soccer hooligans beating the fuck out of each other. Now, to be fair, they would call themselves football hooligans, but, whatever. Then you have shit like fucking football here in America, where I think it was in Philadelphia. Actually, I'm pretty sure this has happened more than once. But like everyone gets mad at political protests, but there's almost zero real fallout or consequences from football riots, By the way, in America, we have had a handful of football riots, Like, I'm pretty sure in Philadelphia, they had a football riot because they won. I think that's where it was. I could be wrong. I'm not a football expert because fuck football. They're right because they won. They got fucking, they got so excited. They just went into the street and started throwing over cars, setting shit on fire, breaking windows, like, because they won. They won. And so their thing was, yeah, let's just destroy the surrounding town in the name of winning at football. What? That's some Aztec shit right there. That's some real Aztec shit right there. I never finished naming the other categories of sports. There's a couple other ones, but the point is that most sports are similar variations on the same kind of thing. And I mean, I guess, and then you have shit like baseball where it's like, what the fuck are we even playing? No, that's unfair. I just judged football for being overly simplistic, and I just slammed baseball for being convoluted. That's not really a fair comparison. One would say if I had objective values about these things, I'd be more in favor of baseball, but I'm not, because it's fucking boring to watch. I'm sorry. It is. I don't, you only enjoy it because you're already emotionally invested. Me as a person, as a child, going to witness a baseball game, thinking it was going to be exciting, and then sitting there and realizing it was not. Terrible. Basketball is the only sport I've ever willingly sat through, unless you count combat sports. I do watch combat sports, specifically MMA, because boxing is barbaric. But anyways, also karate. I'll watch karate and stuff. Where was I? All right, back to football. I specifically don't enjoy football a lot, mainly because it's like, is football worth it? Like, seriously, like, football A is just another rendition. It's like football is just like every other version of Pong, but it's like the turn-based version. Video gamers know what I'm talking about. It's like the turn-based version. Like, everyone gets a turn. Like, there's turns. And that actually drives me crazy about football, because they're weird turns. And it has more to do with capturing like pieces of land. But like, we stop, we start, we stop, we start, we stop, we start, we start. They drag out there is a literal hour of game time in a football game. And they make it last fucking 4 hours. Are you kidding me? People complain about Zack Snyder's Justice League being 4 hours, but then they'll sit through fucking football. Fucking football. Where it's oh my God, at least when I'm watching other sports, things are happening. It's not just, we're running and we're stopping, we're running and now we're stopping, we're running and oh my God. Oh my God. At least in baseball, occasionally someone like decides to be a rebel and steal a base. At least that's interesting. And at least in basketball, there's constant movement. And half the time, some of the players are acting like they're in the Matrix. Like, at a certain point, like how much brain damage is this sport worth is the other thing. Like, it bothers me that as a society, we are ready to just be like, nope, it's not a problem, and just feed these young men into a machine that literally chews up their bodies and their minds. Why is that? America is so ingrained into this sport that we're fucking willing to feed human bodies into it. Like this is just mildly better than what the Aztecs did. I mean, sure, they're walking away alive. Some of them, some of them do die because due to consequences of their footballing. Just pointing that out. Also with the Aztecs, you're not going to live out the rest of your life with chronic pain or abusing your spouse because you forgot who you were or what you were doing. These are symptoms of CTE, by the way. Why is football worth this? Why is football specifically, of all the sports, worth what it costs? Also, the government needs to stop building fucking stadiums for these rich cock-sucking motherfucking corporations. Jesus Christ. It is ludicrous. Fucking ludicrous that our government we spend money on fucking sports stadiums while there are children who can't afford to eat lunch in their schools. It's asinine. But Ruben, the economic impact of building a stadium is negative. It's negative. The overall economic impact is only good for the fucking stadium itself and maybe a handful of bars in the near vicinity of the stadium. The truth is that lots of restaurants and other types of small businesses don't benefit from being near a thing that takes up the parking their customers could be using. Those people are going to get out from their game late. They're not, if they're going anywhere, they're going to the bars to continue getting drunk so they can riot in the streets. Like fucking pieces of shit who are rioting for zero reason other than that they love football. Why is this okay, America? Also, we claim to be a Christian society, and yet we are more faithful to football on Sundays than the church. Football is the be and all end all of American hypocrisy. Just a gross machine that stands in the middle of our society, soaking up resources and money. But Ruben, people need sports scholarships to go to college, and these types of industries justify that as a career path. Okay, first of all, if this is where if you are going to be fed into a meat chipper as your career path, you don't really need college. Just gonna throw that out there. The bigger question in that situation you should be asking yourself is this. Does that sound like more like there's something wrong with our education system? That children are dependent on playing imaginary ball games just so they can get an education? Like, doesn't that sound more like the problem is that the education system is having to build in these incredibly stupid loopholes to make sure that everyone gets the education they need and deserve as fucking Americans? Are you kidding me? Look, it says a lot. It says a lot. Also, it says a lot about football. That the only time anyone's ever been angry at football was when a football player got mad about racism. Like football is shitty all the fucking time. And now suddenly one guy on one team starts to kneel during the national anthem. By the way, kneeling, not considered disrespectful. It is not a disrespectful gesture. It only makes you uncomfortable because you don't think anyone should be standing up to the police. Kneeling has almost always been done as a sign of respect or fellatio. And frankly, if you're mad about respect or fellatio, what the fuck is wrong with you? Okay. So obviously, I harbor a lot of deep resentment to the sport of football. Come on. Come on, society. Why does football get to get away with everything? Okay. The one thing they ever got called on was the thing they didn't deserve to be called on. You know what you should be mad about? You know how the NFL sells these fucking breast cancer awareness gear and stuff? Do you know only 1% of those profits go to research breast cancer? Almost they're just using breast cancer awareness as an excuse to get you to buy ridiculous pink versions of jerseys that are normally other colors. They're exploiting human suffering. Are you kidding me? I don't know. You're allowed to like football. You're allowed to enjoy football. It's whatever. But there's a million other sports. You couldn't like even one of those more than you like this godforsaken pile of shit that for some reason Teddy Roosevelt thought was important to save. Oh, by the way, that's another important thing. Football almost was outlawed in America until Teddy Roosevelt, I think it was Teddy Roosevelt, I hope I'm remembering this story correctly, fucking saved it because it was incredibly dangerous. People got very injured and even died playing it, to the point where people were beginning to say, you know what, football is bad for us as a society. And the next thing you know, Teddy Roosevelt comes out and the first thing he does is he starts basically regulating football. He created a whole bunch of new rules for football to make it less lethal. And then he made them wear helmets. And at this point, that's literally just a piece of leather on your head. But as time went on, people were like, oh, these should be real helmets, not just fucking bullshit. But of course, these safety measures led to an escalation as basically putting them in suits of cheap armor with motorcycle helmets on their heads continued to be the vogue thing to do. Football players only kept getting bigger. We kept getting bigger and bigger football players to slam into each other. And so at a certain point, it's like, well, yeah, we got the armor on, but at a certain point, that kinetic energy has to go somewhere, and some of it's going to go through you. Your body's going to feel that. Frankly, I would never want my kids to play football. This is not a sport I would ever encourage. Ever. And this is not a sport you need. No one needs football. It's unnecessary. There's a million other sports, and most of them are less boring. Not only that, but football players could probably learn to play half of the other sports, okay? They could go into wrestling. Or, that's an intense irony to me, is that I think wrestling is more meaningful than fucking football. But Ruben, wrestling's fake. No, wrestling is a story, you bitch. Wrestling has the respect for me as an audience to assume that I want there to be something happening during the fight. Because I do. I want a fucking narrative. I don't want to have to do endless Googling to figure out why I should care about a sports team. In wrestling, they put those emotions out in front so you can feel it, so you can taste it, so that you know what the story is. Does it matter that they know who's going to win? Hell no. Who cares? It's all fake bullshit anyways. How many times for your everyday survival have you ever had to throw a ball? How many times have you had to throw a ball to survive in your day-to-day life? Oh, you haven't? Well, guess what? That's because sports are just for fun. And if you take them any more seriously than that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But sports have no more value than things like video games, board games, any kind of game. They're just for fun. And unlike board games and video games and television shows and comic books, the number of values that I can be taught to a population from sports is kind of borderline two-dimensional. So yeah, no. Sports are just for fun. They have no deeper meaning. They have no real purpose besides, promoting their truly greatest value to society is just that they promote exercise to the youth, which is great. So sports are for fun and exercise. But if you think for a minute that sports are worth burning down a city, betting money on, forming your entire personality around, I'm sorry, but you've aligned yourself with a big old bowl of nothing. But you know what? We live in a postmodern society. That's okay then. I'm just saying I fucking hate football. And if you love football, that's okay. But Jesus Christ, don't compare it to anything that matters. I'm Ruben Ryan. And if you enjoyed this podcast, then please follow me wherever you get your podcasts. And also please share the podcast with the people who you recommend podcasts to. Also, please, if this podcast pissed you off, you can feel free to go to my Anchor FM and leave me a voicemail. I think they have a limit of 1 minute though, so you may have to leave several if you really, really want to stick it to me for hating on football. You could also write me an email at rubenuncut@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to read those emails, even though I will not be clicking on any links that you may include. I'm not stupid. I just am smart enough to hate football.